Today on Steelers Talk, I am revealing my 2.0 version of my Steelers mock draft here for the 2024 offseason before the athletes at the NFL Combine this week go through their workouts. All right, I'll probably put another mock out after the Combine is over, but I wanted to get things going here before the people and before the guys actually work out on the field there at Lucas Oil Stadium. So I'm going to go 7 rounds today with trades. So we're going to be doing a lot of great stuff today. It's going to be a real fun video. But before we get into it today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we got the latest news updates from the Combine all week long. We're going to be talking with Steelers GM Omar tomorrow, giving you my takeaways from our team, talking to him during his media availability tomorrow. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now for exclusive content here on Steelers Talk all throughout Combine Week. All right, so now keep in mind, as I go through this mock here, I'm going to assume that the Steelers are going to sign starting capable players at all of their primary positions of need when we get into free agency. So what am I talking about there? I'm talking about offensive tackle, I'm talking about center, I'm talking about corner, and I'm talking about safety, all right? So I'm going to assume that the Steelers, with the amount of cap space that they're going to have heading into free agency, they're going to get people in free agency, veteran players to fill these spots as starters. And then as we head into the NFL draft, the Steelers aren't really going to be feeling like they have to get a starter in any specific position group as we head into the big day in Detroit. So without further ado, man, let's get into this. And you know what? Let's make this mock interesting, okay? Because the big rumor in Indianapolis this week is, will Justin Fields get traded? And if so, will the Steelers be the team to trade for him? So you know what? For this 2.0 version, let's make this happen. Let's see what this draft could look like if the Pittsburgh Steelers trade for Justin Fields to replace Kenny Pickett as the starting quarterback of the black and gold heading into the 2024 season here. If I'm Omar, what I'm offering the Chicago Bears is a 3rd-round pick, number 84 overall, and then a 5th-round pick in 2025. You have an additional 5th-rounder next year because of that trade with Allen Robinson. You get one from the Los Angeles Rams, so you technically have 2 right now. You give away one of those. In this deal here, I think that this is really a steal, if I do say so myself. If I'm Omar and I'm getting Justin Fields, somebody that could be my franchise quarterback and a bona fide star player potentially in this league for just a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick, I mean, I think that's an excellent deal. So we're going to do that. And then also, to get one of those picks back, we're going to trade away Kenny Pickett because we're bringing in a new starter. You know, we want to give Kenny a new start elsewhere. And the first call that I think Omar would make would be to his friend Howie Roseman there in Philly, who is in need of another backup quarterback to back up Jalen Hurts. And then Kenny Pickett has a very similar style of play to Jalen Hurts, so I think that they could see him as a high-end backup. They'd be willing to give us a 5th-round pick here, number 160 overall, to get this deal done. So now, let's get this mock draft started here. And you know what, guys? I'm starting to get a little bit of a vibration here with my phone, and we're getting a call, and it's coming from the Dallas Cowboys, all right? And they want to move up a couple of spots to our spot at number 20, and they're willing to give us their 3rd-round pick this year in order to move up those 4 spots. So if I'm Omar I'm sitting there and I'm saying, hey, I just gave up my 3rd-round pick to get my quarterback. If I'm going to get a 3rd-round pick back right away here in the 1st round, and all I have to do is move down 4 spots, I am 100% going to take this deal here from the Dallas Cowboys. We will trade down. So now we still have a 3rd-round pick, and we still actually have a 5th-round pick this year as well, an additional 5th-round pick thanks to that Kenny Pickett deal. So let's get into this mock here with my first pick, and I'm going to take center out of Oregon, Jackson Powers Johnson, my number 1 center in this year's draft class, man. This guy is the perfect Arthur Smith center. If you guys know anything about wide zone offenses, you need a center that can move, all right? You need a center that can pull. You need a center that can do all the things. And Jackson Powers Johnson, when you watched him at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, this guy could move. This guy was not budging in pass protection. He is absolutely perfect for this role in Arthur Smith's offense. So even though the Steelers might go out in free agency and get a guy like Aaron Brewer or another free agent to potentially start right away. I think Jackson Powers-Johnson is going to be somebody that can come in and take that starting job right away. And if he's available for the Steelers here at number 24 overall, I think Omar Khan is going to pull the trigger. Now, predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will the Steelers' first draft pick this year be a center, whether that be Jackson Powers-Johnson, whether that be Zach Frazier out of West Virginia? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section by giving me a yes or no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or no. Then we get into day 2 here, and with the second round pick, I'm going to take wide receiver here. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver from the Florida Gators. And if there was ever a receiver that was built to play an Arthur Smith system, I think Ricky Pearsall is that guy. He's an incredible run blocker, and we know how much Arthur Smith really appreciates his wide receivers that can run block. With Deontay Johnson just 1 year left on his contract, he's not exactly a run blocker. I think that, they could bring in a guy like Tyler Boyd or maybe somebody else in free agency, but I don't think that's going to stop them from taking a young guy like Ricky Pearsall, who really showed out with his route running acumen there in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. I think he's one hell of a prospect, and if he's here in round 2 with his physicality, with his route running, with all these different things, and we know how well the Steelers draft wide receiver, I think if he's here at number 52, the Steelers are going to pull the trigger. Then here in round 3, I'm going to go inside linebacker because I think that I'm not sure if they're going to get a guy in free agency. You got Cole Holcomb, right, and you got a Landon Roberts right now, so I'm not sure if they're going to get someone in free agency, but they want to probably bring in a younger guy to bring in a rotational role. And here in round 3, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., maybe not quite as good as Edgerrin Cooper out of Texas A&M, but he's definitely a nice consolation prize here in round 3. He's the son of an NFL player. He's got all the tools that you look for. He's good in pass coverage as well, well-rounded player. Definitely think he can definitely thrive in a rotational role right away in the National Football League. So that's the pick I'm making here in round 3. Now coming up, we got the day 3 picks, rounds 4 through 7. You're not going to want to miss it. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. And football season may be over. I know I'm just as sad as you guys are, but the action on the floor with basketball, college and pro, is just heating up. Whether it's tournament season or the fight for the playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of the year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks today, America's #1 fantasy sports app where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stats are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app in the United States. How does it work, you ask? Well, here's how you play. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can even win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So my entry for tonight's NBA action, I've got the less on points for Cade Cunningham. I got the more on Jalen Brunson. I think he's going to go off tonight. And then I got the less on RJ Barrett assists with the Toronto Raptors. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks, so you can get started right now. Get your picks in before the NBA tips off tonight. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Again, download the app and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Pick more, pick less. It's the easiest way to do it with our friends at Prize Picks. Then we get to round 4 here, and I'm going to kind of go towards the future when it comes to the Cam Hayward 3 technique position here, because I really like what I see from Keanu Benson. He's definitely your future nose, and he could definitely play some 3 technique in your 4-down fronts, no question about it. Larry Ogunjobi's fine, and I like Armon Watts. I think they're actually going to re-sign Armon Watts this offseason as well, but I really like Christian Boyd, defensive tackle out of northern Iowa here. I saw him live at the Shrine Bowl in Frisco, Texas a couple weeks ago. This guy was straight up dominant, and he actually reminds me a little bit of Cam Hayward. And I think that if you bring him in here in a rotational role his rookie season, learn from Cam Hayward, in kind of the twilight of his career. I think that, this would be a super easy transition when Cam eventually decides to hang him up. You got guys like Keanu Benton and Armand Watts and Christian Boyd. If you take him here in the 4th round, easily the best value here in round 4, in my opinion. So I'm going to take him here at number 120. And here in round 4, we actually have 2 4th-round picks in a row. So I'm going to take a safety here. Tyke Smith, safety out of Georgia, one of the more instinctual players in this year's NFL draft class. I love watching Smith on film, man. This guy, he just triggers so quickly. He knows what the offense is doing. He can tell that he really does his film study, and then he's got the quicks that you look for. Hard-hitting player. This guy's got the DNA of a Pittsburgh Steeler, and you're looking for somebody with these kinds of instincts to play strong safety moving forward. Patrick Peterson, even if you move him to safety this season, you're going to be looking for a long-term replacement at safety. And hey, even if you sign like a Terrell Edmonds or something like that, you want some youth in that safety room right now. And I think Tyke Smith, if he's there in round 4, and I think there's a decent chance that he is, I think this would be a great pick for the black and gold. Then in round 5, we haven't taken a tackle yet. I do think that there's a potential that the Steelers are going to sign a tackle in free agency. And because you got Dan Moore Jr. as a potential swing tackle, maybe you don't want to go the tackle route. But I'll go Christian Jones here in round 5. He's definitely my best value offensive tackle in this year's draft class. He was really good at the Senior Bowl, arguably one of the best, if not the best, in the one-on-ones. And despite that, man, people are still like, we're not going to move him up our draft boards. And I'm like, fine by me, man. I'll take you in the 5th round, Christian Jones. No question about it. I think this guy could be a potential starter someday in the National Football League. And I definitely think that this would be a value pick for the Steelers here on day 3. Then we'll go with a Pitt Panther here in round 6. And you might be wondering, Jack, you haven't picked a corner yet. But the reason for that is because I think they're going to be more free agency heavy on the cornerback position as opposed to the draft, because you have Joey Porter Jr. as your lockdown number 1 guy, who, of course, you just drafted last year, so he's got plenty of youth. And then you've got Corey Trice Jr., who definitely has potential, but you can't really rely on him to be a starter because he's had knee injuries, he hasn't been on the field, and he hasn't proven himself in the National Football League. So what I think the Steelers are going to do is they're going to sign at least one, but potentially multiple veteran corners in free agency, and then they're going to try to take a chance on a guy like MJ Devonshire here from the Pitt Panthers, a very aggressive corner, likes to go out and try to get interceptions, try to get somebody like this that could bud into a potential starter and kind of go along with Corey Trice Jr. and try to ascend in this depth chart as the season goes on. So because of that, I don't think corner is going to be something that's super high up on the draft list unless they don't, for some reason, sign a free agent corner. But because you have Joey Porter Jr., Corey Trice Jr. as your youthful guys in the building, and then they're going to sign some guys in free agency, I think they're going to rather go out and get offensive line early in the draft, and they'd rather get a kind of a boom or bust guy here like Devonshire later in day 3. Then with my final pick here, why not? I'll go quarterback. I'll go Talia Tagovailoa, the quarterback out of Maryland. You know, the arm strength. I mean, tell me if you've heard this before. A Tagovailoa doesn't have the greatest arm in the world. But you know what, man? I watched this guy play football during Shrine Bowl practices and during the Shrine Bowl game, and this guy looked like he was playing at a different speed than everybody else on the field. This guy processes information quickly. He moves in the pocket well. He's got good athleticism, and he's got good playmaking instincts. So is this guy ever going to be a starting quarterback in the league? Probably not. But is he somebody that could be a pretty darn good backup for you and make some plays in case your starter gets hurt? Absolutely, in my opinion. He's probably one of the better value quarterback prospects in this draft. Once you get into this area of round 6, round 7, I definitely think Talia Tagovailoa is going to carve himself out a career in this league, and I'd like to see him do it with the black and gold. So here's our mock draft haul here this time around for my 2.0 version. I got Jackson Powers Johnson as the future, just rock in the middle of the Steelers' offensive line. The next great Steelers center. Then we got Ricky Pearsall as a great, versatile, physical wide receiver there to go along with Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Calvin Austin III, and who knows, maybe like a Tyler Boyd or something in free agency. Then we got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to be a rotational linebacker, Christian Boyd to hopefully take over for Cam Hayward eventually and be a good rotational piece right away. Tyke Smith, really good safety from Georgia, really instinctual player, could be a starter year one. Christian Jones, somebody I'm really high on from the University of Texas, really good value tackle pick up there. MJ Devonshire, kind of a boom or bust type of guy, at least in my opinion. Very aggressive corner, but definitely gets beat in coverage from time to time. Going to take him in round 6. And then Talia Tungavailoa as a backup quarterback option in round 7. Now, grade my mock down there in the comments section. Sorry, guys, I can't talk. Put a grade for me down there in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. And then once the combine is over, I'll probably update with another Steelers mock draft here. So if you didn't like today's mock, just wait till after the combine because I'll have another one on the channel very, very soon. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Again, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because tomorrow the Chat Sports team is going to be talking with Steelers GM Omar during his media availability, and we're going to be breaking down my takeaways on his comments from what he tells our correspondents there in Indianapolis. You're not going to want to miss it. Going to get some very nice scoops tomorrow, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us tomorrow.